Hi everyone, this is Paul here from the Magdalene Centre. Today I'm doing the astrology report for the solar eclipse, which is taking place on the 6th of January at 1:28 Universal Time. I'll be outlining some of the key aspects and elements that this particular solar eclipse highlights to us, and giving us the overall theme for what it means and kind of opportunities or lessons for us to grow from. But before I do that, I just want to clarify, as I always do, that the astrology doesn't control our lives. It merely gives us a framework to help us understand what is unfolding around us. It gives us a way to understand what the energies around us are doing and the kind of lessons that they're highlighting for us to be learning at this time. But for anything to actually change, or for us to achieve any growth, it's up to us to take responsibility for our own lives and to take responsibility for the course of actions that we take. It's also necessary for us to take action in order to get the ball rolling, to make things happen, because it doesn't just happen of its own accord. It requires us to take action to make things manifest. Now, in terms of the solar eclipse in Capricorn, this sets a 6-month lesson for us all around things like integrity and commitment. And this isn't just integrity in terms of how we live our public lives, it's about personal integrity, so that even if what we're doing isn't seen by anybody else, we still make sure that everything we're doing is honest. So this is a solar eclipse that highlights the importance of making sure that everything we do is conducted through with honesty and integrity, and that we seek to do things in an honourable way. So Capricorn itself deals with higher order, or the higher laws, if you like, and their physical manifestations. And Capricorn basically asks us to move into alignment with these laws. So it's understanding that everything that we do, every action that we take, can potentially sow seeds of karma for ourselves. But karma in itself isn't necessarily just about punishment. It's also, if we're doing good deeds and doing it with having sincere desire to do them, as opposed to doing them in order to look good, then we also reap the rewards from that. So it's not just about being punished or anything like that. Karma is just a balancing device. If we're doing good works, if you like, and we're making sure that everything we do is done out of kindness and honesty, and that our motivations for doing things are pure, then it's also understand that we also reap the rewards of success from that. So Capricorn is generally seen as, or at a more mundane level, is about reputation, about status, and about career. But reputation is something that we build over time, and part of building a good reputation is making sure that we're not engaging any behaviour that can potentially destroy it. So for us to build a reputation of being someone who's reliable, who's hardworking and honest, it requires that we actually embody those principles, embody those behaviours. So if we're someone who is constantly lazy or avoids taking any responsibility for ourselves, then this solar eclipse may well feel like a kick up the backside to grow up and start taking responsibility for our lives. So Capricorn, it teaches that if we want to achieve true freedom, if you like, then the price of that is personal responsibility, not just for physical actions, but it's also taking responsibility for our thoughts, for our words, for our emotions, because emotions basically are our response to situations, but we can choose how we respond to situations. We're not just at the whim of external environment. We can transform that internal landscape so that we're not affected by what goes on around us. And it's also about embodying integrity. So it's not enough for us to talk about things or to talk the talk. This eclipse reminds us that for us to have any real authority, we have to walk the walk. So if we're saying one thing and doing another, then we're out of alignment and we inevitably create harm for ourselves. So this eclipse reminds us to always focus on having that personal integrity, of making sure that if we say we're going to do something, we do it, unless there's some kind of extenuating circumstance which means it's physically impossible for us to do it. So unless there's a genuine reason where something has become impossible to do it, only say we're going to do something, or only make promises if we know that we can keep them, And if we do make a promise, we also keep them. We don't just treat it as something we say to keep other people content, as it were. So, and it's also, if we say that we've got a certain goal in mind or we want to achieve something, it's not enough to say it. We actually have to commit to the path of doing it. But it's learning to value hard work and perseverance. It's understanding that for us to achieve any goal that's truly worthwhile, and for us to feel truly proud of ourselves for, and feel that we've earned it, if you like, it requires that we do it honestly, that we don't seek shortcuts, that we don't put on a good show and we don't put on a good act, but we don't actually commit to the actions necessary to make it happen. So it's also about having that personal accountability, and in some cases, sometimes it's worth having other people that we have specifically to hold us accountable for our actions. So if we say we're going to do something, we don't do it, we're held accountable for it. So this is also, in essence, learning to live our lives with the understanding that if we're doing something that's inappropriate or that's based on lies, then there's always that possibility that it can be uncovered. So why do something that could potentially damage our reputation in the first place? It's learn to, rather than hoping certain key facts will remain hidden, it's avoiding committing to any course of action that requires us to lie or be deceitful in the first place. So this particular eclipse, it's all about that integrity and that commitment to be our highest or be our best selves, to ground the spiritual principles and key honourable ethics into our everyday lives, through embodying them and being an example to other people so being positive examples by embodying the principles and proving through our actions that we have integrity, that we are reliable, and that we're capable of committing to something. And if for whatever reason we don't meet up to or don't achieve what we say we're going to do, that we take responsibility for it, we own our own issues or we own our own mistakes, and convert them into opportunities or convert them into experience to show us what the consequences are for not fulfilling our end of agreement or not fulfilling our responsibilities. The eclipse is nestled in between Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn. So it's close to Saturn and Pluto, but Saturn is the ruler of this eclipse. So this really rams home the Capricorn element of it, of the necessity of say what we mean and mean what we say. And if we say we're going to do something, we do it. Because the thing is, if we keep saying we're going to do something, we don't do it, we then build up a negative reputation, and this kind of reputation can cause us problems further down the line at the worst possible times. So if we want to have a positive reputation, we want to become successful in something, then we have to take ownership of our own lives, take ownership of our own actions, and understand that we are responsible for how honourable our words, our thoughts, our actions, and the way we treat other people are. So Capricorn is also about cultivating that self-respect through being true to who we are and being honourable in our dealings with people. And it's also embodying that respect ethic. So even if other people are obnoxious, it doesn't mean that we should allow ourselves to drop to that level. We should always seek to engage in an honourable and respectful manner, even if it doesn't seem like the other person deals with it or is worthy of it, rather. But if we want other people to respect us, then it's important that we maintain our personal integrity, even if it may be tempting to resort to low level behaviour. But one of the key things we need to be mindful during the whole time is, if we have a goal that we really want to achieve, we must avoid at all cost any desire to pursue it through any kind of illicit behaviour or any kind of lying or deceit. It's important that everything that we do is conducted with personal integrity, that we don't resort to cheating to get things, to achieve things, or we don't resort to running over other people on the way towards a goal. We understand that everyone is on their own particular path and they've got their own goals in mind, and it's not fair on them if we go steamrolling over other people in a desperate need to try and achieve a goal at the expense of other people. We need to understand that we're connected with everything and everyone around us, and if we're engaging in behaviour that is harmful to others, that harm will inevitably ricochet back upon ourselves at some point, whether it's through damaged reputation, through scandal or anything like that, or if it's through being on the receiving end of the same kind of actions or behaviour that we inflict on other people. At some point it all feeds back to us, so we need to make sure that we're doing things, so it's the whole treat others as you wish to be treated, or doing to others as you would do to yourself. And if we maintain this particular ethic in mind, and we always seek to be honourable and ethical in our dealings, then we reap the rewards of success through honest efforts, honest endeavours, and knowing that we've achieved something in an ethical way, in an honourable way, and it's through our own hard efforts that we've got there. So we haven't relied on shortcuts, we haven't relied on cheating. We know at the end of the day that whatever we've achieved, no one can take that away from us because we've done it in an honourable and ethical way. This is further emphasised by Pluto in Capricorn, also close to the solar eclipse, so also being a loose conjunction, which the Sun will move into a close conjunction in a few days later. But Pluto in Capricorn is all about truth. It's understanding or seeing the shadow in, we see it collectively at the institutional level, where scandals seem to be erupting all the time as the truth is being uncovered. But it's also important that we apply this to ourselves, so that we understand where our own shadow and our own secret power drives are being highlighted to us through our interactions with the people and through our interactions with institutions around us. It's looking at where are things based on lies, where are they based on shadows and based on the desire to control, as opposed to out of a desire to achieve freedom through personal responsibility and through owning our own shadow, of transforming the shadow desires through personal discipline and through understanding that everything, the high level of order that everything operates by, is based on truth. So if we want to achieve things, if we want to manifest a lasting legacy that will stand the test of time, then we have to make sure it's based on truth and is not based on trying to control other people or to seek power drives over other people and steamroller over people. So it's making sure that if we are in a position of authority or power already, that we do not abuse this, but it's also making sure that we don't try and seek power through substitute means. And the last aspect is Neptune in Pisces is sextile to the solar eclipse. So this reminds us that through all this effort for perseverance, through developing integrity, we must also remember that to have unconditional love as a partner drive to the seeking of truth. So the seeking of truth and seeking to embody truth must also be coupled with unconditional love and compassion, because these help us to avoid judging ourselves and judging other people. If we maintain that unconditional love and compassion for ourselves and other people, then we avoid the judgmental side that can come out in Capricorn if we allow superiority to dominate. So it reminds us to stay humble, to stay open and honest, and to remember that we're connected to everything else, we're connected to everyone else, and it's not our place to judge. People are doing things which is inflicting harm upon themselves or hurting other people. Our place is to embody the truth as best we can, to always seek to achieve things through honourable ethics, so we do not lie, we do not manipulate other people, and we do not seek shortcuts in order to achieve something at the expense of weakening the lasting effect of what we're doing. If we create things built around truth and love, then they have the power to encourage other people to do that, and it creates a legacy that can last much longer. But truth and love must always be the guiding principles at the end of the day. If either one of those goes, then we can either be pursuing lies all the time and seeking to gain things at the cost of other people, or we can end up seeking to be embody the truth, but doing it in a cold and harsh kind of way. So it's very important that we make sure that love and truth are our guiding principles at all times, because these then prevent us from abuses of power and keep us on the straight and narrow, so that when we're committing our actions are guided by wisdom. And this wisdom means that we're giving our energy out, as it were, in an honourable way, and then that returns to us many times over, and we reap the rewards of success through honesty and integrity, rather than trying to manipulate other people out of what they've got in order to boost ourselves at the expense of others. So I hope it's a useful guide for the solar eclipse. The main thing to remember is that this eclipse presents us with the lesson, or the importance of knowing the value of taking personal responsibility for our lives and cultivating integrity and building a reputation through honest work ethics that allows us to achieve a greater level of success than we can ever do if we rely on shading the truth and trying to manipulate for personal gain. If we always seek to do things honourably and ethically, then we've got nothing to hide, so we'll never be on the receiving end of some kind of scandal or anything like that. So if we can always seek to operate with personal integrity and operate from love, then there is so much growth we can achieve and so much success we can achieve, provided of course that we also seek personal responsibility in all areas of life, so we can achieve freedom through responsibility rather than imprisoning ourselves in karma through lack of responsibility. So may the solar eclipse bring you many blessings and many key lessons that empower your journey and allow you to grow much further than you've ever gone before. Take care and be blessed.